What's up, guys? Welcome back to Between the Pylons. Today we are talking about the Washington football team's draft breakdown, 2021 draft. I'm going to be giving you my best and worst move and my grades at the end of the video. I'm going to break down the first 3 rounds of their draft because that is where you're getting those premium positions. So we'll be talking about that. Before we do that, let's get into their entire draft, take a little overview of their entire draft class. And hey, while we're doing that, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button if you enjoy this video, it really helps out the algorithm for YouTube, and hitting the subscribe button to, just support me in general if you're interested, if you enjoy this content. But let's get right into it here. Obviously they went defense heavy, but they did grab an offensive lineman in the second round, which was a good move there. Get another piece there for offensive line. Obviously, definitely still a hole there from where Trent Brown used to be. You have a De'Ami Brown that you got in the third round, which I think was a steal there in the third round. You're getting a guy who's going to go on the outside there, play on the outside. You have Terry McLaurin on the inside, and just going to be a dangerous unit there. Got another tight end that's going to help you out because you certainly need some help there at the tight end position. So getting some weapons, but really beyond that, getting some DBs, getting cornerback in the third, getting a safety in the fifth, and then in the seventh round, those aren't obviously not high profile picks, but getting a couple defensive ends just to add to the depth. That is the strength of your entire football team. So why not every year just add another piece, another late round pick that can go in and maybe be a part of that rotation in the back end, right? You gotta love teams that look at their strength and say, hey, we're gonna make this and keep this a strength. We're not just gonna rest on our laurels. Obviously, we have high round picks all across that defensive line. Let's continue to add pieces. Let's continue to add depth pieces there in the seventh. I don't know. I like that. I think that's always a good move. Man, Washington. Hey, we'll get into it at the end, but let's get right into their draft class. Let's get into their first round pick, Jamian Davis, linebacker out of Kentucky. This is a 1-year starter who that certainly is a concern for some people, but not for me, man. I think they got a stud here at 19 overall. Went a little bit earlier than I think anybody was expecting, but this is a guy who has great field vision, is a great size, speed, athleticism combo, has a huge frame. He is built to be an NFL linebacker. He is your quintessential NFL linebacker. I have him outside linebacker. I think he could play inside too if you really wanted him to. Just 11 career starts. As I mentioned, he is a raw prospect, and that initial burst, it's not special. It's not the initial, just like the instinctual burst. I think that comes with more comfort at the position, which he had 11 starts in his college career. He had 11 starts, went 19 overall. So that tells you the amount of potential he has, but he's still going to have to grow into that position and learn the position at the NFL level. I really do. I think this is an awesome pick. This is a guy, you already have a defensive line that is the best in the NFL, and it's really not even close in my opinion. You have the best defensive line in the NFL, so get some linebackers at that second level that can just fly around, because you're not going to have as many impediments as some of these other linebackers of other teams that don't have a great defensive line that every single offensive line and every single team that goes and faces Washington is going to have to circle and deal with. Now you got another guy at that second level that can just cause more mayhem. I love that pick. I think it was a good move by Washington to grab the guy that they thought was the most athletic, most dangerous linebacker in the class. Good pick there. I really like it. And then moving into the second round, they grab a Sam Cosmi out of Texas. This is a junior out of Texas who is a 3-year starter, has good feet and movement skills, a little bit lean for an offensive tackle. That was a little bit surprising to me. He's small for an offensive tackle. There's no other way to say it. He's not small as in short, but he is a little bit leaner than I expect. You expect those tackles to be a little bit fatter, a little bit thicker, I guess. And strength at the point of the attack, I think in turn was a little bit of an issue. He did struggle versus pure strength on the other side of the ball, and I certainly think that's going to be an issue moving in. But Sam Cosmi, to me, another guy who's going to go in and should be a starter from day one, if not a tackle at one of the guard positions. I really believe that. I think he comes in. He's just part of this huge clump of offensive linemen that were drafted in that second round range. He's just part of that clump of tier 2 offensive linemen, and look, he has a really good chance to be one of the best. He really does. So a really good pick by Washington, just adding to that offensive line unit. And really, when you look at that offensive line as as a whole, probably going to have to play tackle. I think that is their biggest need there, at either right or left tackle, depending on how it works out. Their interior offensive line is pretty good. I mean, they have a really good center, and they have two really good guards. You traded for an Eric Flowers, who, I mean, he's good. He's serviceable. And now, are you paying him top dollar to be serviceable? Yeah, you are, and that's probably not a long-term fix. That's why I think maybe Sam Cosmi is the answer there at guard, and you can move on from an Eric Flowers and maybe not pay him as much as you probably don't want to. You know, that you traded for him early on. You got your insurance policy if you couldn't get an offensive lineman in the second, but you did. I don't know. I'm spitballing here as far as where Cosmi is going to play, but if not, he'll play tackle. I think your tackle position is kind of limited there, and really no guys that really jump out to me. And if you're a Washington fan and you love one of your tackles, hey, that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be an expert of every single team's offensive line. I feel like I know more than most of the average fans as far as knowing every single team's offensive line. But if you know about a guy who's just maybe a little bit more under the radar that I don't know about, hey, let me know in the comments. I'm always here to grow and learn, and I just might be missing somebody. So I leave that as a very real possibility. So let me know if I'm missing somebody there. Moving on to the third round there, you get a cornerback out of Minnesota, Benjamin St-Juste. This is a guy who is just another guy who I think has athletic potential, very, very similar to a Jamian Davis. Maybe, obviously, I think has a lower floor. But this is a guy who is a very good overall corner, plays the run pretty well, pretty good at ball skills, pretty good athleticism and movement skills overall. I did think he was a little bit stiff. That was like my bigger thing about him. I thought he was a little stiff. I do think there's some issues there. I think at worst, you go and play him at safety. He could be an awesome in the box safety. I really believe that, and he has enough coverage upside to me where I do think he'll be a corner in the NFL, but I'm not sure. The stiffness definitely bothers me, especially from the cornerback position. That's like the one position where you just want fluidity at the highest level. Like, I always want to feel that fluidity, and when I see stiffness, it does scare me, and it's something I circle a little bit. When I can see that, I get nervous. So I don't know. We'll see where he plays. We'll see how they use him in that backfield. I don't look at Washington as a team that didn't really need a corner. You got William Jackson, who I do think was the steal of the offseason for the entire NFL and not just Washington. I think they did a really good job of adding pieces there in the offseason. So where this wasn't the biggest need, but it certainly is something that the Washingtons can use. I've almost said the other word. Sorry. Washington football team can use. Moving on to their last pick in the third round, Dyami Brown. This is just a big, physical, fast wide receiver. Their draft is starting to have a little bit of a theme, right? Where they're getting athletes. They're getting explosive athletes that maybe haven't learned the position to the highest level. This guy's raw. He has a limited route tree. He only played on the outside, but his athleticism, his big playability, and his contested catchability are special, really special, and emphasis on the athleticism. This dude is a speedster. This dude is explosive as hell. So I think there's some high upside there for Dyami Brown. I think, you put him on the outside, you have Terry McLaurin on the inside. Man, that wide receiver room just got really, really dangerous, especially big play potential type of things. Man, dangerous, really dangerous. But hey, let's move on to my closing thoughts. I'm gonna give you my best and worst move and some of my grades there, and then we'll close it out. So for their best move, to me, it was grabbing a Dyami Brown in the third round. I just thought that was awesome value for a guy who has a chance to be super special at the wide receiver position, and really, I think, builds out your wide receiver room as a whole. I think he is a very complementary piece to what you already had. Fits in very, very well. I'm very excited to see how he develops at the NFL. I think it was a really good pick there for Dyami Brown in the third. My worst move, I'll be honest with you, nothing stands out. And I thought about, kind of getting super, super nitpicky, and I was like, man, it's not even worth it. It's really not. I'm just going to say, hey, nothing, there's no terrible move here. And that's actually going to lead right into my grades. And usually I break my grades down into three different categories here. And I usually do that, and I'm going to technically here, but it's the exact same grade, so I'm going to show it at the exact same time. B+ across the board. Listen, and we'll go through it pretty quickly here. Players, yeah, I really like a lot of your players. Now, am I blown away by your draft class? No, I'm not blown away. but I really like a Sam Cosmi. I really like a De'Ami Brown. I really like a John Bates. You get tied in the 4th round. I think that was a good pick out of Boise State. You did a lot of good things here. Jamie Davis, a little bit early for me in the first round. I didn't think he was top 20, but I certainly thought he was a top 32 guy, top 30 guy. So I have no problem with a very slight minimal reach, maybe like 4 or 5 picks more than I really thought his range was. And hey, you're getting real nitpicky when you talk about that. That was, again, one of the nitpickier things that I could have said, and I just decided not to because I don't think it's actually a bad move. So yeah, that kind of feeds right into draft value, right? You're the guys you got. Hey, did I think Benjamin St-Juste was drafted a little bit earlier than he probably should have been? Yeah, but again, you got a guy with a lot of potential in the 3rd round, so I don't really have a problem with that. Samuel Cosmi went right where he was supposed to. De'Ami Brown, I do think, was actually kind of a value there in the 3rd round. So hey, you did really good there. You didn't make a whole lot of trades, but you sat and you picked and you got some good players for who you got. And then needs, B+ again. I mean, you attacked some of the biggest needs. The reason it wasn't an A, you didn't grab a quarterback. I mean, that's the only thing. I mean, that I really feel like is the pressing need for this team right now. And I get what they're doing. Hey, build a team, build a championship team, put a top end quarterback in that championship team when you're ready. Like build your team for success. This is I think roster management 101. I think Washington is doing it the right way. They're building it the right way. Now you have some guys on that roster. Fitzpatrick can be your stopgap quarterback. I know there's some hope that a Taylor Heineke could maybe come in and be that starter and actually be the guy. You never know. Be surprised. I would. I'd be very surprised. But hey, it could happen. He certainly got some buzz there for Washington versus the Bucks. I believe it was the Bucks in the playoffs. I mean, he played his heart out in that game. He really did. So yeah, there's a lot to love about Washington. Man, I do think they're close. I really think they're a quarterback away from being a championship contender. I think that's really where we're at with Washington. They have a damn good football team around them, and hey, we need that last piece to really put it all together. But until then, they're going to compete, and they're going to be a real pain in the ass for a lot of football teams. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching this series. This is my last draft breakdown that I'm doing. Did 31 this year. I didn't do Seattle. They didn't have enough picks. It wasn't worth it. So I didn't do Seattle. I think they only drafted like 3 times in this draft. It wasn't enough. So other than that, 31 teams. A little bit of a grind, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, I love the grind. I embrace the grind, and it has been awesome. My channel's grown a lot over the past couple weeks, so I have nothing to complain about. But once this video is out, you can imagine that I'm chilling on the couch drinking a beer that day. I plan on it anyway. But all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. I have a ton of stuff planned for the rest of the offseason, so please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel, more importantly, though, because there's going to be a lot of good stuff coming your way. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Peace.